Honestly, some people drain you so much, you wonder if they're hiding a dark agenda beneath their friendly smile. Have you ever felt exhausted just being in the same room as them, like you need a moment to cleanse your spirit afterward? You're not imagining it. Sometimes, it's not just bad vibes, it's a subtle, corrosive force pulling you down. The worst part is, you might care for them. You trust them until you realize you're in a game where they hold all the cards, grinning as they say. Your move. Today, I'll share 5 undeniable signs that someone in your life isn't a blessing. They're like emotional traps, quietly eroding your peace, self-worth, and clarity, leaving you questioning your own mind. Grab a coffee or something calming and settle in, because spotting these signs could spare you years of heartache and costly therapy. If you're ready to see through their facade, hit like, subscribe, and comment. I see the signs. Together, we'll shine a light into the shadows. Let's dive in. Sign 1, they push you to stumble. We all know nobody's perfect. We stumble, fail, and sometimes make a mess of things by choice. Wise people own it, while stubborn ones deny it. What matters is how those around us react when we falter. True friends don't gloat over our missteps. They offer honest feedback, even if it stings, because they want us to rise stronger. They know real care means helping you face the truth, no matter how tough. But there's a far more dangerous type out there. Not the loud troublemakers we avoid, but the smiling saboteurs, hiding their motives behind warmth and charm. They pose as your closest ally, your fun companion, the one who gets you like no one else. Their cleverness lies in their subtlety. They don't outright tell you to ruin your life. Instead, they cheer when you start to slip. Picture this. You're trying to live healthier, eating better, cutting back on sugar or alcohol. Then a friend smirks. Come on, loosen up. You're no fun anymore. They're the first to push cake in your face at a party or pour you another drink when you've said no. They make you question your goals, turning discipline into something rigid or selfish. I recall a man I knew years ago. Let's call him Robert. He was charismatic, the kind of guy everyone loved being around. Robert had a knack for humor that lightened any room. When I was working to quit drinking and turn my life around, he'd say, "You're doing great, but one drink won't hurt. You deserve it." He'd hand me a glass before I could object, raising his own with a warm smile. At first, I thought it was friendship. I convinced myself he was supporting me in his own way. But one night, after a binge, I swore I'd never repeat. It hit me. He wasn't helping me grow stronger. He needed me weak. My sobriety forced him to face his own struggles, and as long as I drank, he could avoid his truth. That's the mindset of these people. They don't just tolerate your failures, they rely on them. Your mistakes validate their choices. Misery loves company, but it craves compliant company most. They can't admit they're lost, so they drag you along. They're masters at disguising it as kindness. They don't shout. Be reckless, they whisper. Don't be so hard on yourself. Just as you're about to repeat old mistakes, the danger isn't just in that moment, it's in how they chip away at your resolve. Stoicism teaches that your mind is a fortress you must guard fiercely. As Epictetus said, no one is free who doesn't master themselves. These people want your gates wide open, defense down. Because once you justify small compromises, you're easier to lead astray. The tragedy is, they're not always cartoonish villains with evil plans. Many are just as lost as you might feel. They fear change, so they undermine anyone who tries. They could be siblings, partners, old friends, people who know your weaknesses, whom you trust enough to let your guard down around. So, how do you handle them? Stoicism guides us to see them clearly, without illusions or excuses. Set boundaries calmly but firmly. Choose which conversations to engage in, which temptations to decline, which invitations to pass on, and if necessary, walk away. Protecting your mind, values, and peace isn't selfish, it's essential. I'm sharing this not to make you paranoid, but to empower you. Think of those who seem thrilled when you compromise your values, who applaud your worst choices under the guise of friendship. Recognizing them is the first step. Next, we'll explore how to set clear, respectful boundaries, even with those you care about deeply, because caring for them doesn't mean letting them pull you into chaos. Sign 2. They dismiss your feelings and manipulate with control. Some of the most damaging manipulation doesn't feel like force. It's cloaked in care, love, even loyalty, a subtle trap that's hard to spot until it's too late. These tactics aren't the obvious cruelty that makes you flinch and run. They're quiet, deliberate shifts that pull you off your true path. So gradual, you barely notice you're losing yourself. Many of us have felt this without realizing, blaming ourselves for being too sensitive or not understanding enough. It often starts with someone making you doubt your own judgment. They say things like, "You're overreacting," or "You're too sensitive," until you question your instincts. You might try sharing concerns about an unhealthy relationship or friendship, but instead of listening, they dismiss your emotions entirely. Worse, they might insist they're protecting you while controlling who you see, where you go, or how you spend your time. Not with threats or loud arguments, but with patient persuasion, convincing you they know better, that your happiness hinges on following their lead. This manipulation is cruel because it doesn't feel like control. At first, it feels like care. I've seen people in their 52nd and 62nd, wise and experienced, tiptoe around someone claiming to love them. They stop seeing old friends to avoid upsetting a partner. They skip family gatherings to keep the peace. Slowly, their world shrinks, until the manipulator's voice is the only one they hear. It's a chilling reality. The goal isn't to push you off a cliff, but to nudge you off course, bit by bit, so gently, you don't notice you're lost until you're far from yourself. This stems from their insecurity and need for control. Manipulators don't just want your freely given love, they demand devotion they can steer. They frame their perspective as the only truth, twisting reality until you doubt your own. They don't use outright threats, but subtle, almost affectionate nudges. "I'm just trying to help. You know I want what's best for you." Over time, you stop challenging them, not because you agree, but because you're weary from the endless battle over what's real. Stoicism offers clarity here. It teaches that while we can't control others' actions, we must fiercely guard our own minds against their influence. Epictetus said, "We're not disturbed by things, but by our view of them." Manipulators aim to hijack that view, convincing you their reality is the only one. The antidote is awareness, seeing their tactics clearly and holding firm to your own reason, no matter how hard they push. This means relearning to trust your own instincts and honoring your boundaries. even if they call you cold or selfish. It's about seeking relationships built on mutual respect, where differences aren't punished, and your independence is valued, not feared. You're not alone in this struggle. Manipulation is designed to go unnoticed. Recognizing it is your first vital step toward reclaiming your peace. Next, we'll explore practical strategies to set firm yet kind boundaries. Protecting your mind isn't just self-defense, it's a profound act of self-respect and commitment to the life you deserve. Sign 3. They sow conflict and division. Some of the most harmful people don't yell, threaten, or show open hostility. They pose as friends, drawing you close with care, only to quietly plant seeds of doubt and discord that fracture your relationships. These individuals master subtle sabotage. They turn intimate secrets into leverage, using gentle nudges that grow into deep rifts. By the time you see the damage, they've moved on to their next act of feigned loyalty and concern, leaving you to pick up the pieces. They position themselves as your greatest advocate, urging you to confide in them as a safe haven. But your shared words become tools for manipulation, twisting your fears into betrayal, fanning conflicts while keeping their hands clean, all to keep you off balance. They thrive on chaos and division, as it makes them the center of your world, an indispensable advisor and mediator. The harm isn't always loud. It spreads through whispers, skeptical glances, and well-timed hints that make you question others' motives and loyalty. This isn't just gossip or immaturity, it's a profound form of control. By inserting themselves between your relationships, they gain power to shape your perceptions, deciding who's right, who's wrong, who's trustworthy, and who isn't. Over time, they become the gatekeeper of your connections. Make no mistake, they don't just target casual friendships. Their favorite marks are marriages, families, and long-standing bonds, anything strong enough to challenge their influence. Psychologically, they're driven by insecurity and a deep need to feel essential. By fostering division, they create dependency. You turn to them for advice, clarity, or peace, and they gladly provide just enough to keep you hooked. This is predatory behavior that feeds on trust, love, and vulnerability, eroding what you hold dear. Marcus Aurelius warned that others' opinions shouldn't control us, urging disciplined perception. This wisdom is crucial when facing those who sow discord. You must bravely see their tactics for what they are, even if it hurts to realize someone you trusted isn't safe. Ask yourself, does this person bring clarity or confusion? Do they resolve conflicts or profit from them? Are they truly invested in my well-being, or do they need me to rely on them? Don't play their game with anger or try to outmaneuver them. That only pulls you deeper into their drama. The Stoic response is calm awareness. Limit what you share. Refuse to let them pit you against others. Prioritize direct, honest communication with those you love. If needed, step back, not out of spite, but to protect and cherish what matters most to you. Acknowledging someone's subtle harm isn't weakness, it's strength. It's seeing clearly, preserving peace in your relationships, and demanding transparency and respect. Next, we'll discuss how to set unapologetic boundaries to safeguard your closest bonds with integrity. Sign 4. They drain your emotional energy. You've likely met someone who seems like a godsend at first, a kind friend, a thoughtful neighbor, a family member who finally understands you. They appear when you're most vulnerable, offering a listening ear, a helping hand, and promises of loyalty that feel like a lifeline. But over time, their true nature emerges, not through outbursts or betrayal, but through small, subtle acts that are hard to spot initially. These people excel at finding your weaknesses and exploiting them, all under the guise of care, leaving you depleted and exposed. Their probing questions aren't meant to heal but to catalog your vulnerabilities. What starts as support turns into interrogation. I once saw a friend in her later years fall into this with a new church acquaintance. He seemed like a blessing, carrying groceries, checking on her health, offering to help with chores. She told me she felt so fortunate, especially after losing her husband. But over time, I noticed she spoke less with her children. She said they didn't understand her like he did. She skipped family dinners to spend time with him, and if anyone questioned his intentions, she got defensive. She'd say, "He's the only one who's there for me." But the truth was far darker. He subtly convinced her that her kids were selfish, not truly caring. He needed her isolated to control her world more easily, a classic tactic of emotional predators who hide their motives behind kindness. These people don't show their intentions with malice. They don't growl or bare their teeth. Instead, they act thoughtful and devoted, earning your trust by making you feel heard in a way you haven't felt in years. They become indispensable, the first you call in sorrow or joy. But with every secret you share, they gain more power. Their true aim isn't to support you, but to own you, ensuring your loyalty belongs only to them. As your reliance grows, so does their control, pulling you deeper into their influence. Without you realizing, they criticize those who love you, hinting that those relationships are toxic. They make you doubt your own judgment, subtly shaming you for spending time with others. Psychologically, they thrive by creating emotional scarcity, making you crave their approval above all else. You find yourself apologizing for imagined faults, bending your values to avoid their disappointment, taking blame to keep the peace. The irony is, while you try to mend the relationship, they have no interest in meeting you halfway. They only want your submission. Stoicism warns us to be vigilant guardians of our minds and hearts. Marcus Aurelius wrote that our minds take the color of our thoughts. When we let others flood our lives with doubt and self-loathing, they don't just alter our mood, they reshape who we are. The Stoic solution requires unflinching honesty about how others affect us. It means seeing relationships for what they are, not what we wish them to be. Some people can't be reasoned with or saved because they don't want to change. If you feel drained, small, or weak around someone, that's not love or friendship. It's predation. The kindest thing you can do for yourself and them is to step away, reclaiming your mind, peace, and identity before they're lost. Next, we'll explore practical ways to set boundaries that keep you safe without falling into the manipulative traps you're trying to escape. You don't just deserve to survive these relationships, you deserve to be free. Sign 5. They instill dread, anxiety, and fear. Science shows that anxiety and fear can spread like a social virus, subtly infecting your mind through prolonged exposure to their negativity. You don't need to be anxious by nature to feel this. Just spending time with someone who feeds on insecurity, always highlighting worst-case scenarios, can make your thoughts feel foreign. This shift is so quiet, you might mistake it for aging or necessary caution. But it's really an external force trying to keep you small, doubtful, and afraid. These people don't wave red flags. They come as friends, confidants, or family claiming to care. Their advice, disguised as concern, is sabotage that erodes your confidence and clarity. Instead of helping you weigh options, they amplify every risk until you're paralyzed. Instead of celebrating your goals, they question your abilities and motives, planting doubts that creep into every choice you make, undermining your courage and resolve. They don't just want you cautious, they want you obedient. For those with sensitive, reflective hearts, this is especially dangerous. We're taught to listen and consider others' views. So, we hesitate to call out their negativity, even when it's cloaked as honesty or realism. This isn't harmless pessimism, it's manipulation designed to control. They craft a reality where you rely on them to navigate a dangerous world they've conjured in your mind. Over time, your courage fades, your dreams shrink, and your will to stand up for yourself weakens. You start apologizing for wanting more. You doubt instincts that once guided you. Worse, you may forget who you used to be. Stoics warned of this danger, teaching that our thoughts are our own to protect fiercely. Marcus Aurelius said our minds take the hue of what we allow in. When you absorb fear and negativity, it doesn't just linger, it reshapes your choices and worldview. This isn't just a mood shift, it's losing the power to choose your path. If you're living smaller, avoiding risks you once faced, or seeing only threats, question who's been influencing you. Do they help you see the world clearly, or do they trap you in fear? Are they freeing you from illusions or binding you to their approval? These questions aren't easy, as the answers often reveal betrayal beneath a mask of care, but facing them is essential. The Stoic response isn't to harden your heart, but to set clear mental boundaries. Choose who shapes your life, discerning warnings born of love from those meant to control. Learn to separate caution from paralysis, honesty from cruelty, prudence from surrender. It means reclaiming your right to judge, decide, and live as your own master. As we move forward, let's explore how to build this mental clarity and resilience. You deserve more than surviving fear. You deserve to live with dignity and freedom, unswayed by others' influence. If any of these signs feel too familiar, it's time to stop giving unconditional trust to those who drain your spirit like emotional vampires at a feast. You weren't born to be anyone's puppet or punching bag. You deserve peace, clarity, and the freedom to chart your own course. Spotting these subtle saboteurs is your first step to showing them the door, or at least waving them off with a smile and a firm, "Not today." If this resonates or stirs you, don't stay silent. Subscribe. Comment on which sign hit home. And let's build a space to call out these tactics and stand strong together.